We've reached the limits of our strengths. For days now, the fighting has been raging on in the southern sector, and more vehicles are breaking down or have to go back with heavy damages. Our losses are increasing. The ranks are becoming thinner and thinner. We apparently aren't able to get through the defensive positions, or if we manage to get through, what's left of the assault unit is no longer sufficient to break through further. Our companies are mixed up, and we're only living from one center point of attack to the next supporting mission. I'm short of sleep. We need some rest. One loses his concentration, but as long as our Rosinante isn't getting hit, we're still at the spearhead of the units. In the meantime, we've been redirected since apparently the Russians are trying ever more to push into our flank. Thus, there are again far advances to the west by our reconnaissance, and wherever the Russian is showing up in mass, it's going against the enemy. I'm quite okay with that. Rather catch a mobile opponent in the field than drive against dug-in positions and allow to get oneself the tank shot up. Go ahead. Together with several other vehicles, we've been assigned to active reserve and are rolling forward in a northwesterly direction. In the meantime, the main unit is clawing themselves forward in the direction of Kursk, and I hope they'll have breached all defensive lines soon. The weather keeps getting worse. Light rain is setting in. If we're lucky, the ground won't get too soft. We drive around a patch of woods. A reconnaissance vehicle is headed toward our lead tank. We stop. After 20 minutes, there are new orders. An anti-tank unit has been spotted which apparently had advanced too far. 12 trucks with anti-tank guns in tow which are just being unhitched. They probably are working on setting up a fallback position so that their tank units could, after a, I want to call it, not so successful attack, hide behind it. Or they're trying to lure our units into a trap, meaning in front of the barrels of the anti-tank guns. All possible, therefore not taking any chances. We load high explosive shells and want to approach the edge of the woods. Again, we have to turn into the direction southwest. Then we'll catch them in the flank. We, along with 2 Panzer IVS, are taking the lead and burst through the undergrowth. They certainly have heard us, but I'm thinking the artillery pieces won't be turned around that quickly. And correct, the entire clearing is full of trucks, and the Russians are running about wildly. Most guns haven't been unhitched yet, or are just being pushed into built-out emplacements. It's like a rabbit hunt. We open fire. The high explosive shells are impacting amongst the Red Army soldiers. Fountains of dirt sprout from the ground. Machine gun bullets are whipping through the truck covers. And bodies are being flung through the air, or, being hit, are falling to the ground. Now we're also receiving fire, but it's rifle and sporadic machine gun fire. The attackers, however, are quickly eliminated. We shoot up everything that's moving, but somehow a few death-defying red soldiers manage to bring a cannon into firing position. I see the faces large in my optic. At this distance, it's impossible to miss. The gunner of the anti-tank gun still hesitates. I see the muzzle flash of the anti-tank gun in the same moment. I fire, and with the impact into the anti-tank gun crew, we also receive a direct hit. The tank stands still, the engine is off, and there's smoke inside the combat compartment. Peter is screaming into the combat compartment whether all are okay. Only the radio operator says nothing. Hopefully, he's just unconscious. The shooting subsides. Our comrades move past us further forward. This way, they're covering us from additional hostile fire. The loader shakes the radio operator, who does come back to again. Everything was still in one piece, he states, but the hit was apparently forward right. The engine starts back up. We open the hatches so that the smoke can escape. The firefight is over. We report over the radio that we've been hit, and after the infantry have driven together the remaining Russians, we climb out of our Rocinante. All around us, there are burning trucks and destroyed artillery pieces. Not everything has been shot up. Apparently 5 of these things are still in order. So also a little loot, only will we get them to the rear again. We take 60 prisoners. The rest of the Russians are lying scattered all over the terrain. My comrades are still standing by the tank and are looking at the mess. Direct hit between right side forward drive unit and hull. Another weld has cracked, and the track has come off, that we won't get fixed so fast. Either tow it or wait up. The combat detachment must move on. One armored personnel carrier with grenadiers remains with us, and we wait for the repair platoon and supply train, which will collect the prisoners and the anti-tank guns. I'm not sad over a bit of respite, though I think Peter wants to keep moving. He's lucky another commander has been wounded, and also has to go to the rear. He stays with the other wounded with us. That way, Peter takes over the tank of the comrades. Don't do anything foolish, Peter. I give him along the way, and he replies laughing that I wasn't his dad. The unit drives on while we're making ourselves comfortable. The Russians are gathering their dead and are instructed to dig a large hole. I keep watch over the soldiers digging the grave and make sure no one escapes. In the meantime, Lothar has organized something to eat. That way, we're able to scoop some stew into our cooking gear. The Russian trucks that aren't burned out are searched. The ammunition and whatever else is discovered are used for our own supply, also to replenish our provisions, even if it's of the liquid kind. We grab a few Russians and have 2 additional anti-tank guns set up in a suitable position which is pointing to the west. In the event that another tank unit does appear, we'll now have a few effective arguments. Each anti-tank gun also receives 10 rounds of ammunition, and I explained to an older non-commissioned officer of the Grenadiers how to operate the 76.2 millimeter anti-tank gun. It's no longer raining. In the distance we hear intense combat noise. Surely, our unit is now engaging the Russians again as well. It's already late in the afternoon when an armored personnel carrier with wounded men appears. A master sergeant unloads them with us, and then wants to get back to the front quickly. There's apparently a lot going on. Damn it! And we're here sitting around and can't do anything. Maybe 2 hours have passed. Under a cloudy sky, we're waiting for the supply train and the repair crews. With a few grenadiers, I'm sitting by the artillery pieces. On top of that, we've organized some coffee. In the distance, we hear engine sounds, and we assume it's our own people coming from the east. Quickly, it becomes apparent that, indeed, it is our own. 3 trucks and a heavy hauler. In front of that also a field car. Not a threat. Everything is relaxed. If I see it correctly, Schmidt is standing in the field car waving. The company sarge is also along. Well, they must be bored in their mobile command post. I'm happy, already walking toward the arriving comrades, and don't even catch on that suddenly the Red Air Force is above us. Ground attack planes are diving down on the clearing and are firing from all guns, dropping bombs. An inferno of explosions and shrapnel flying about is making the entire world go down in noise and dust. Everyone's running about wildly. The red pilots keep diving down on us over and over. A burst of shells shoots through the mass of the prisoners and tears many of the Russians apart, followed by bomb strikes which toss everything about. Wildly jumping, I run about just to get into cover. Quick, over to Rosinante, only 200 meters. That should work. Again, shells hiss past me and shred one of the anti-tank guns together with the grenadiers cowering behind it. A truck explodes. Again, bombs are falling. I don't know anymore where is forward or back. Still 150 meters to the tank. Then I see a dark spot race down to earth, and in a fiery flash, my tank blows. Debris is flying toward me. The turret is still spinning in the air. A stream of fire is shooting from the interior, and another shock wave from the bombs yanks me off my feet. I'm tossed into a depression. Dirt and rocks are landing on top of me. Pain everywhere. The lung has no air to breathe. Something heavy lands on top of me. I try to look up, but I can only see smoke and explosions. Again, bullets are impacting around me, and more bombs keep falling. I pray that it'll be over soon. Then it gets quieter, and only sporadic shots can be heard. Now it's quiet, but apparently my ability to hear is now just coming back. Cries of pain now reach my ear. I attempt to turn myself over, and manage to do so. A body is lying on top of me. I push myself up, and a sergeant of the grenadiers rolls off me, or what's left of him. The eyes wide open, he's staring into the void. Missing is the lower half of his body, simply torn off. Blood is everywhere. I try to get up on my feet. It's not easy for me. Arms and legs have received some damage, but apparently only shrapnel, no severe injury. I sit in my knees and look at my tank. Rosinante is no more. Direct hit. I try to get a glimpse of my comrades, but can't see anyone. With a soot-blackened face, I stagger over to the wreck. Blood is running down my arms, but it doesn't appear to be too bad. I get to within 20 meters of the still burning tank wreck. There lies Lothat, half charred, his skull smashed in. 2 men are still inside the wreck. One can see the bodies or remains of them still burning. All gone. It's all over. I sink to the ground and weep. I can't go any longer. It's all over. My comrades have fallen. My tank is junk. All around a smoldering, burning inferno. Not many are still on their feet. The Russians who didn't get hit have escaped. The heavy hauler has also been hit, as have both of the trucks. Schmidt, what about Schmidt? I gather myself and force myself to get up. My legs obey. I shut out the cries for help by all the injured lying around. I stagger on, evading debris and body parts. One red soldier screams unhuman-like and is trying to tie off his torn-off legs. Next to him, one without a head. Entrails are scattered like creeper weeds on the ground. Burned bodies, indiscernible whether friend or foe. I see the field car. It's lying on its side. Next to it the company sarge. Covered in blood, he's kneeling next to the road. I shout at him. He doesn't hear me. I come closer and notice Schmidt lying in a large pool of blood that's already soaking into the ground. The sarge is pressing his jacket onto Schmidt's chest area. I join him, want to get out my first aid kit. He waves it off, slightly shaking his head. Schmidt looks pale. Life is leaving his body. I speak to him. What kind of foolishness he was causing here again. A smile appears on his face. He rasps something, and I have to bring my ear right up close to him. Then I hear him say, "Rudolf, the thing with Kursk and the schnapps, you'll now have to do it alone." He cramps back up. I notice that tears are running down on the sarge. He knows that it's going to the end. I don't know what I should say. Then I still get out a hold on. Schmidt smiles feebly and says in a dying voice, "Greet the homeland, Rudolf." And it's over. The eyes get pale. Life has left his body. The sarge turns away, and I can't go any longer. Apathetically, I'm sitting next to Schmidt and weep and weep. Why? My friend Schmidt, my crew, my tank, all's gone for which life here at the front is worth living. I don't want to keep going. It's all too much for me. I fall over to the side and close my eyes.